Hello and welcome to The Gray-Haired Writer. Today I'm going to talk about one of the legendary martial artist Bruce Lee's advice that he gave to martial artists and applied to writers. And just so you know, I won't be talking about that famous interview where he said, "Become water, my friend." You know how water becomes a cup or whatever. Anyway, instead I'm talking about take what works for you and use it, and you take what doesn't work for you and throw it out. What I'm saying is, there is so much writing advice out there. For one thing, the seemingly never-ending debate over discovery writer versus plotting. It might leave you wondering, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What do? I don't know what I'm going to ever do again. To explain the difference between plotting and discovery writing, the former is you plot out the story, the beginning, middle, and end, and you can do chapters, scenes, and maybe develop all your characters right before you go into doing the actual story. Discovery writer is you let the story come to you. You write with no specific plan. If something comes up while writing, you go with that. That's an easy way to explain it. So, which one of them works? Well, both work, because here are 5 famous authors who are reportedly discovery writers. Number 1, Stephen King. You've heard of him, I presume. Number 2, you've also heard of George R.R. Martin. Number 3, Margaret Atwood. Number 4, Ray Bradbury. And number 5, Haruki Murakami. I hope I got your name right there. If I didn't, if you're watching this video, please forgive. Anyway, you've heard of all of them, haven't you? So, how can anyone say that being a discovery doesn't work? Well, it obviously does, because it worked well for all of them, didn't it? And here are 5 famous authors who are plotters. Number 1, J.K. Rowling. Number 2, Brandon Sanderson. Number 3, John Grisham. Number 4, Agatha Christie. And number 5, Dan Brown. Again, I don't doubt you've heard of all of those authors, so plotting clearly does work. At least it did work for them. So that proves that both ways to write a novel do work. But what is better? You may be asking, or wondering, or thinking, or whatever. Well, neither is better than the other. The only thing is, what is better for you? Because, my friend, you are more important than the way to write. And that was Bruce Lee's advice when he created Jeet Kune Do, or his philosophy, if you will. The martial artist was more important than the martial art. What works for one might not work for the other. In other words, you are more important than the writing way, or whatever it is that you're doing. Best thing then is to just try your hand at discovery writing for one story, and then another story. Try your hand, or typing, or if you will, well, you know what I mean, at plotting out in detail your story. With that, you can decide what is best for you. Do not let others tell you what is best for your own writing. Just because something worked for them doesn't necessarily mean it works for you, and that goes for both plotting and discovery writing, which is also known as pantsing. Not to mention that as you grow as a writer, you might change from discovery writer to plotter and vice versa. That goes for everything on your journey as a writer, which includes the various different plotting methods out there. Here are 5. There's the 3-act structure, the hero's journey, save the cat, the snowflake method, and the Dan Harmon story circle. Those are only 5. There's multiple out there. Each of these are all valid ways to plot out a story. They've all worked for those who have used them. If they didn't, well, they wouldn't have become famous plotting methods, would they? Absolutely not. Again, experiment with each one to find what works best for you. The what works best for you advice also includes when you're most creative. For you, it might be early in the morning, or it could be afternoon or evening. In other words, Don't listen to all those self-proclaimed gurus of personal development and productivity porn who say you must get up at 5 a.m. to get a start on your day. What do they know about your own situation? If getting up at that time does work for you, well, have at it. If it doesn't work for you, well, despite it being written in those books and online articles and probably YouTube videos as well, so I can't really say it is nowhere written that you must get up early, especially since I mentioned it in an earlier video. But, again, it's only to mention helpful. There's hopefully no gun to your head forcing you out of bed at a time you don't want to get up. If getting up at 5 a.m. or earlier doesn't work for you, then you don't do it. Because remember what I said before, you are more important than whatever someone is trying to shove down your throat. What works for you also pertains to what social media platform you want to work on to grow your platform. You can't be everywhere because it will drain your attention from what you really want to do. Renee Rose said it best, if it's not something hell yeah, well then it's automatically a hell no and get it out of my life. For now, anyway. Some people will say, you gotta be on Instagram, TikTok, or what else is there? Well, truthfully, I've lost count as to how many social media platforms are out there, and I don't doubt that you have too. So I only do YouTube and TikTok because I like doing videos, and hopefully you like them too. Nudge, 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 wink, wink. And there's no doubt so many things you can come up with too that this advice can be applied to. Other examples of this include, does writing at home work for you, or do you prefer a coffee shop or other public place? Maybe the library or your local pub while listening to a band play. Maybe that might not work, but try it if it will. And how do you fill your creative well? I might do a video on filling your creative well at some time in the future, but some people do stuff like nature walks or forest baths, or unplug from technology and do some snuggle time or other stuff with their significant other. That's something I might do a video on in the future. Well, maybe not, because I don't think you want to see that. So there you have it, my application of the Bruce Lee advice as it pertains to Raiders. Let me know in the comments how you apply this advice to. But before I go, let's see if I won this time on the annual Tim Hortons Roll Up the Rim to Win, and please play again. So I didn't win. Well, oh well. Until next time, have a great day, and have a great week. See you in 7 days. So long, my friends.